think so.
Good morning. I am Peggy Rose from the Voter Information Committee, along with our chair, Chris Joyce. This is our annual program Voter Information does about some of the articles for town meeting that are in the warrant. We'll have brief discussions with the folks who have proposed these articles, and hopefully you'll gain some either new information or information for the first time about the articles. Starting off in his usual position is Dave LeBlanc, Deputy Fire Chief, and he'll speak to the articles from the fire department. So go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. The first article that we're up for this year is Article number 9. It's items out of free cash, and the first part of that is a replacement of the Deputy Chief's vehicle. This was a couple years ago. We tried to replace the Chief's car. It was delayed a year, and this is kind of the result of that. But the way the fire department works, the vehicles get passed down through the, so there's a hand-me-down. My car is a former Chief's car. So this, we're ultimately trying to replace the inspector's car. Mm-hmm. So the inspector's car now has just about 200,000 miles on it. It was a former police cruiser. So it did road time as a police cruiser, then it was the deputy chief's vehicle, went to the inspector. And currently, the DPW does a phenomenal job of maintaining our fleet, but it's not gonna pass inspection without putting a lot of money into it to get it to pass. So we decided that, you know, this was a time also for down the road, so we don't end up with a lot of vehicles with high mileage. This was the time to do it. It is an emergency response vehicle. It's a vehicle I will use every day. And we try to keep the ones that are responding every day to emergencies with less than 100,000 miles on them. It's not always possible. The second half of that, or the second article, or part of that article that we have is, and it's a little confusing, but it's the nozzle and valve replacement program. So FEMA does a grant for the fire departments every year. And you apply with the hundreds of fire departments across the country, and most of the time it's a 5% match. In this case, that's what we're putting in for. Trying to replace all of our nozzles, our valves, everything that the water touches. No offense to Dan, but as the water sits against the valves and the trucks and everything else, they corrode. So we're at a point now where all the engines have what we call intake valves, these large valves on the side of them, and we have hydrant valves that we use to hook up the hydrants, and they're getting a little bit old and starting to be costly to repair. This allows us to replace them all at the same time, all the same equipment, same with the nozzles. So the grant is $75,000 and the town's match is $3,750. So if we get the grant money, we would expend that $3,750 if it's approved.
Yep, not a bad deal.
No, not a bad deal at all. It's a great program. We've got thermal imaging cameras through it. We replaced turnout gear through it. We did a radio system through it. So we've been successful with a lot of grants in the past. So Chatham just got a new engine out of it last year. So it's a good program. It's just, it's very competitive. So hopefully we'll do all right. And again, that's money that we're spending in the fire department that doesn't come out of the taxpayer's pocket. Well, indirectly, I guess it comes out of your other pocket, right?
Does, so yeah, good try. Dave.
Yeah. Article 23 is the ambulance replacement. This is part of the every other year ambulance replacement program. It would replace a 2012 ambulance with 158,000 miles on it. It's part of its scheduled replacement. That ambulance is, as most vehicles, when they get to that age, are starting to get a little tired, starting to have more maintenance issues. With adding the 4th ambulance last year, they should go a little bit, we'll be in 8 years now before they're replaced. They should go a little bit longer. We're reducing some wear and tear on the older trucks as they go into 3rd and 4th due status.
And this is $340K, right?
$340,000, yep.
Great.
And this is an ambulance that's on the road, especially with Fontaine, that's on the road a fair amount of time. I think it figured it out last year. It was about 80 transports that this ambulance did. So that's pretty significant use for us. And then the final article that we have this year is Article 24, which is the construction money for Station 2. There's been a lot of information out there. I don't want to take up a lot of time explaining it, but this has been a comprehensive process that started in 2016. We had A committee was formed. They did a needs assessment. The original plan was to renovate the existing building. We used a consultant, I guess, consultant, Gary Barber, consultant works for the town of Dennis on a lot of their municipal projects, and came up with a design concept, went to town meeting last year for plan money.
Right.
And then once we got the architect involved and they started looking at it, and we really put actual sizes and scope to the project, we realized that the renovation was gonna be about $500,000 more than building brand new.
Got it.
What we also realized was that to renovate the building, to get the things that we needed into it, and I want to emphasize, this is needs now. We've taken the wants out of the building. We made some significant cuts to what was going to happen out there. But when we, it was almost 11,000 square feet in the renovation,
Right.
but the new construction's about 9,500 square feet. So it's a smaller building.
But
that-
better utilized
But better
space.
utilized space.
Yeah, got it.
We're still waiting for the bids actually open Thursday, the final bids. So we're waiting for what the final number will be. But we will not go to town meeting without a firm bid price
So
for the project.
April 26th, we'll have
Yep.
bid opening.
Yep,
Great. So-
and we're on the agenda for the selectmen's meeting Monday night to
good.
talk about that. So that's our articles in a nutshell.
But did we want to say something about the nice graphics you have out here?
Did bring just the renderings from the architect of what the building would look like from the outside.
Yeah.
And there's also some views of the inside. With building new, we changed the location. It would exit out onto
Oh,
Route
right.
39, almost opposite the Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
And then the old building would be torn down once the project was complete.
Great. And right now, the amount of money that is in the warrant is 6 million.
6 million and a little bit more. The last estimate we had before it went out to bid was right about 6.3 million. And we're not sure where it's gonna
Right.
come back in, so we'll see.
So we'll know in a couple of days.
Know in a couple days.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good. Well, I think that wraps you up here, David.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you for
Excellent.
coming
Yeah,
again.
Thank
very
you for having
nice.
me.
Yeah, great.